Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video I want to answer your baseball card hot takes. Baseball Card Hot Takes is a series where I ask you what your takes are. Usually this is on Instagram, and you let me know what your hot take for 2024 is. We have some really good hot takes today, starting off with, we are back in the junk wax era. I mean, in some ways, yes. Cards are printed more now than they had been in the last 2 decades. Let's say from the year 2000 all the way up till 2017. Cards weren't printed super heavily like they are now. But I do not think we're anywhere close to a junk wax era. When we define junk wax, you actually think of a box from like 1990. Let's say this exact example right here. This is 1990 Fleer. If you had a hobby box of 1990 Fleer, you're not going to get anything worth more than $1 out of that box. Like, it is just solidified. It is junk. There's nothing in there worth value. While in today's boxes, yes, there's a lot printed. There's a lot of different parallels. There's a lot of different slabbed cards, all these different things. But any given particular box can have a one of one. Any particular box can have a autograph of a Hall of Famer or a rookie patch autograph. All these things which have definitively more value than what junk wax boxes had. You could argue that these boxes are overprinted and we have our own new era of junk wax. Yeah, I could see that with rookie oversaturation, with sets, with autographs, with numbered cards, with parallels, all these different things, yes. But in the long run, let's say 50 years down the road, boxes from 2024 will look nothing like boxes from 1990 Fleer in regards to potential value out of them. Next up, do we really need so many different sets of baseball cards? I put these two back to back, and I kind of mentioned already, no, I do not think we need as many sets of baseball cards that we have. I think it actually hurts a lot of different things. We have all these sets because Topps likes to make money, but I remember they actually, gave the exclusive rights to Topps so that way there weren't so much out there where it'd be confusing for collectors. And it's actually probably more confusing now than ever about what cards really are the ones you should target, especially for newcomers, versus what it's been in the last 20 years or so. Back when, again, back to the example of Fleer here, back in the 1990s, people left the hobby because there were so many sets and it was too hard to collect all the cards of your favorite player. That is more true now. Rookies will have 50 or 60 different base cards, let alone tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, potentially, of autographs and various things depending on the player. It's too much. I would be totally cool if they cut it down to 20 to 25 sets. We would lose a lot of great sets, but if we had some of those flagship ones, I think everybody would be happy. The hard part is there is demand for them, so that's why they're going to have more sets, or at least mess with how many sets there's going to be, but it's always going to be more than I personally would like. Breakers are good for the hobby. More rips equals better singles market for collecting. I personally, I want to be careful how I say this, I disagree because singles still found their way to the market before, and the reason they did that is because boxes of cards became less expensive and people would open them. Back in 2011 with 2011 Topps Update, probably in 2012, boxes of 2011 Topps Update hobby boxes were like $40 in an actual secondary market. Nowadays, you can't get anything of value for $40. That's like a big league box, and maybe even not even that. Maybe it's a blaster box nowadays. And the reason for it is because breakers are opening up large quantities of cards. I'm not saying that's bad for the hobby. It's actually why Fanatics bought in. They liked the potential of breakers in the sports card world. But for me, breakers aren't better for the hobby. It does not help with singles hitting the market, in my opinion, at all. It's one of those things where they still hit the market in the past. It's just because the boxes got less expensive, which was more fun for collectors because we had boxes at cheaper prices where we could open them ourselves, versus where they're inflated right now because there's a demand from breakers to fill breaks that they have. So I disagree with this one. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. If you're a breaker, I don't think you're a bad person. It's just, for me, I'd rather have cheaper boxes than buying into a break 10 times out of 10 times. 2013 card is the true Otani rookie card. This is his Japan card. So when he actually played in Japan, he had a rookie card for a Japanese card. And for me, there will always be a niche for this card. Yes, he is a professional baseball player, but it's not a Major League Baseball. Minor leaguers are technically professional baseball players, but they're not a Major League Baseball. So to me, I don't view it that way, but there's a very large group of individuals. A lot of my viewers do, and I think it's great. We can have different opinions, but for me, I would prefer the actual Major League card myself, but I understand how people will always want the first and the earliest. And if that's the case, this is a great card to look into. But for me personally, until they make the big leagues, that is their rookie card in my eyes. All right, next one. Keston Hiura versus Billy Butler. To the 24% of you, shame on you, and may God have mercy on your soul, because Billy Butler is a all-star silver slugger. He has a 116 OPS plus after drastic fall off. He has about 12 WAR, which I know isn't a lot, but Castanera has about 1.5 WAR, OPS plus below 100. He only played a few years, and now he's in AAA Toledo. So no, Billy Butler is better, and 24% of you are wrong, in my opinion. Okay, collecting runs of cool parallels / SPs is more fun than focusing on rookie cards. I am a rookie card collector, basically almost exclusively, except for the players like Mookie Betts, maybe Zach Greinke, maybe Juan Soto. A few other players, Paul Goldschmidt is another one where I'd buy non-rookie cards that I think are cool. Billy Butler, obviously. But I do a little bit of both, and I like rookie cards better than cool parallels / SPs, and that's just my opinion. That's what I focus on. I do agree it can be boring doing that, though. I understand for some players that don't have many rookie cards, that can be very boring. And if you just like collecting runs and that's how you enjoy the hobby, I think there's 100% validity behind that approach. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But for me, I always will prefer rookie cards. And I do think that is more fun to actually find a rare SP rookie of Bryce Harper from 2012 Series 2 or a Juan Soto Gatorade Bath. That will always do more for me. You can actually build actual sets and rainbows off of that, where you want every short print following that card. But for me, the rookie is always going to be the crown jewel. It's always going to be the one that people stop and look at. For me, that's what I prefer. The 52 Topps Mantle is overvalued. This is a very good hot take. And I actually had a few different comments about Mickey Mantle on Instagram when I was asking about, what's your hot take? And 51% say yes, 49% say no. This gets to the argument of iconic versus rare, right? This card is iconic, but it would surprise you, it's not as rare as you think it is. It's rare in the sense where it has a very high demand, yes, but it's not rare in actual print runs and quantity available consistently on the market. You'll always be able to find a 52 Topps Mantle. Is it going to be the cheapest or a fair price? No, but you're always going to find it versus rare cards that are actually rare. You also have the argument where Mickey Mantle probably wasn't even the best player of his generation. You could argue Willie Mays was significantly better. You could argue that Hank Aaron rivals Mickey Mantle. Those players, what they don't have though is multiple World Series rings with the biggest franchise in Major League Baseball history, the Yankees. On top of that, Mickey had a prime just as good, if not better than those players. Those other players just were more consistent and didn't have injuries and alcohol addiction that actually hurt their career, made it so they didn't really do anything past age 32. But it's one of those things for me, I do not know vintage enough to say yes or no, but it's a very interesting thought process. That card is significantly more than counterparts like Willie Mays and 52 Topps. You could say, well, the 52 Topps Mays isn't a rookie, but technically it is if you consider the 52 Topps Mantle, because both of their true rookies were in 51 Bowman, and then their first Topps card is 52 Topps. And the Willie Mays is a fraction of the Mickey Mantle. So you could argue it, and I wouldn't disagree with you, but you can't deny that is a card that is just iconic, stunning, that you'd want in your collection no matter who you are. So who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think about that one. Next hot take. Modern parallels and autos will never hold value. Too many / overproduced. This is a true thing that I'm struggling with. For actual modern rookies, I think there are fewer and fewer and fewer cards that I think are worth investing in. Collecting, buy whatever you love, right? Like that's, at the end of the day, if you want to collect, then now is probably better than ever because you can get more cards of a specific player than ever before that are really cool and really sought after in your eyes, but not everybody else's eyes in 10 years. But for actual investing, yes, modern parallels and autos, probably 90 to 99% of them won't have more value in 20 years than they do right now for a majority of players. There are exceptions to that rule, but it is what it is. I do think there's too many of them, right? There's so many different parallels and sets. Look at the checklist for Topps Chrome in 2023. In 2024, probably will have more, just the way things are rolling. So yeah, it's tough. We already talked about this kind of 3 different times. Could you argue it's junk era? Yes, but it's not even close to what the true junk era was. Jeter is a top 3 shortstop of all time. So this is the only one I did real research on, and it's right here. Here's my research. He was first in hits, 6th in home runs as a shortstop, 5 World Series MVP, 3 top 3 MVP finishes, 8 top 10 MVP finishes, and negative 159 defensive run saved, which is the second last ever. I think he was just ahead of, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me in a moment. but he was last all-time for shortstops. But if we look at his Hall of Fame stats, we look at a lot of different things, right? So he's actually third all-time in most valuable award shares, meaning he appeared on the MVP ballot basically more than every other shortstop outside of Alex Rodriguez and Ernie Banks. He never actually won an MVP, but he was on there all the time. He is going to be 13th when it comes to Jaws. Jaws takes into consideration your peak 7 years plus your actual overall career. So he's actually 13th there. If we look at this one, which is going to be most WAR per player per year share, he's 18th, meaning he actually did not average that much WAR every single year. Credit all his other players. And if we look over here for OPS plus, he's going to be way down the list below Barry Larkin, Alan Trammell, Ozzie Smith, Ernie Banks, Luke Appling, Robin Yount. But when I looked at this, I thought it was a definitive no. He's not a top 3. But you could argue easily he's a top 5. Is he top 3? That's up to you. In your opinion, you also can make the argument if he was on the Indians for his whole career, never won a World Series, would we view Jeter the same way? Not fair to the player because we view people's careers with everything, including the accolades in the postseason. So for me, I will leave this up to you. I would say he's top 5, top 3, maybe pushing it. Other than that, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. If you agree, disagree with me, let me know your hot takes for maybe next episode, and I will see you in the next video.